She was a star in a galaxy of her own making. On social media, she was Mercedes Morr, a model with over 2 million followers, famous for her beauty, her parties with celebrities like Drake and Travis Scott, and her successful online business. Her life was a cascade of success, but it all came at a cost, an ever-present, terrifying vulnerability. She was constantly battling against the anonymous stalkers and trolls that come with fame, and she took every precaution to protect herself. But tragically, it wasn't enough. In August of 2021, an online stalker would set out to do the unthinkable, leaving a horrified family behind and an entire industry reeling in shock. What happened to Mercedes Morr? How did a stranger manage to breach her carefully guarded privacy? And what lessons can we learn from this tragedy? Welcome back to Case File Chronicle. Our story begins with Janae Gagné, a woman who created an empire from her own ambition. Born in Los Angeles in 1987, Janae was bright, creative, and business-focused from a young age. After a difficult childhood with her parents' divorce, she found her calling in a world that allowed her to blend fashion and finance. She moved to Las Vegas, and adopting the stage name Mercedes Morr, began her career as a professional dancer. Her family was initially concerned, but soon, their worry turned to surprise. Janae was making thousands of dollars a weekend. It was clear she was a driven businesswoman, and her parents realized this was just the beginning of her journey. She didn't want to stay in one place, she wanted more. As the name she chose for herself, Morr, suggested, she was always seeking a bigger stage. She used her success to grow her online presence, building a massive following on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Soon, she had an incredible reach, with millions of followers hanging on her every post. Her online fame propelled her into a new sphere where she was seen partying with celebrities and becoming a celebrity in her own right. She moved away from dancing to focus entirely on modeling and growing her brand. She launched a successful OnlyFans page, and her plans to expand into her own clothing line and hair extensions were well underway. She was a self-made success story, a true inspiration to her fans. But as her success grew, so did the dangers. The reality of her hyper-connected life was that she had become a target. A few years earlier, she had been doxxed. Her home address leaked online by a disgruntled follower. This incident left her deeply shaken. She was paranoid about her safety and terrified of being stalked. She made a conscious effort to protect her private life, moving to a gated community in Richmond, Texas, a suburb of Houston. Her new home, the Cortland Sugarland apartment complex, was supposed to be a fortress. Despite her best efforts, and despite her strict privacy rules, some details inevitably slipped into the public eye. As an image of her front door, a photo of the apartment complex pool, tiny clues that could and would be used to piece together her location. Janae tried her best to balance her professional need for exposure with her personal need for privacy, a tightrope walk that many influencers face daily. The terrible tragedy began to unfold on August 29, 2021. Jenny's father, Mark, had just returned from a fishing trip when he got a call from one of his other daughters. The family hadn't heard from Janae in a few days, which was completely out of character. Janae was extremely close to her father and spoke to him regularly. To make things worse, she hadn't posted on any of her social media accounts for days. Something was terribly wrong. Mark remembered their last conversation over a week ago, when she had asked him to stay with her while her boyfriend was out of town. He now knew she had been scared and alone. Filled with growing concern, Mark drove to her apartment. Her car was in the garage, but no one answered the door. With a sense of dread, he made the devastating decision to kick the front door down. The sight that greeted him will forever haunt him. At the bottom of the stairs lay the lifeless body of his daughter, her clothes torn, her body brutally broken. There was blood everywhere. As he looked up the stairs, he saw an unrecognizable man on the floor, clinging to life with a knife protruding from his chest, an apparent suicide. The man, who he would later learn was Kevin Alexander Accorto, died right in front of him. But the horror wasn't over. All around the apartment, on the walls and mirrors, were messages written in lipstick and pen. Chilling, desperate notes from the killer. "I wish I never loved her. I was used for money. Jana led me to think she cared about me, but wore another man's ring." The notes confirmed what the police would soon discover. This was a murder-suicide fueled by a one-sided parasocial obsession. The family was devastated. To make their grief even worse, the internet, a place that had given Janae her fame, now turned against her. Spurious rumors spread online, claiming she had died of an overdose, a disease, or violence from a sugar daddy. When the truth was finally revealed, her case became a platform for cruel judgment, with many people blaming her for the industry she was in. Even after her death, she was not given peace. The investigation revealed that there were no signs of forced entry. It's believed that Kevin Accorto, who had traveled from Florida with the sole purpose of finding her, was let into the apartment. He and Janae had no prior relationship. His knowledge of her was entirely through her public persona. It's theorized that he had found her address after sending her a gift or money through her OnlyFans, a loophole in her otherwise strict security. Kevin Accorto, the man who had stalked and murdered her, died at the scene, taking any hope of legal justice with him. The real tragedy here is, of course, Janae. Her mother, Janetta, perfectly summarized the family's loss. She was so famous in her world and so loved in ours. Janae Gagné was a loving, funny, and incredibly smart woman. Her murder is a stark reminder of the very real dangers that can exist in our increasingly connected world. Despite her best efforts to protect herself, the lines between her public and private life were erased by a man who couldn't separate fantasy from reality. This tragedy should be a genuine call to action for all of us. As Janae's father once warned her, some followers are crazy and some obsessed. We have to be careful about what we post online. Think twice about revealing your location, even in a photo. Never post a picture of your car's license plate or a unique detail about your home. Posting about an event after you've left is a good start, but avoid posting about places you frequent. This case is a painful reminder that in a world so hyper-connected, our sense of privacy is always dwindling, and it's up to us to protect ourselves.